Welcome to Gamers Platform.
Oh.
Yeah! Good. Oh, baby! Look at that!
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Adam Wolf from Gamers Platform, and we've got another reaction trailer for you. Reaction video, trailer, whatever. It's a trailer I'm reacting to. And in this video, I've got Ghost Recon Breakpoint for you. I wanted to do this video when the trailer came out, but I've been doing a bunch of other stuff. I'm actually in the process of making a newer technical type of video. So, please be patient with that. So in the meantime, I'm gonna get this going for you. We're gonna be taking a look at, like I said, Ghost Recon Breakpoint, and this game, I can't remember if it's taking place after Wildlands. Yeah, it's a narrative sequel to Wildlands. There we go. I've got it. The information right here. It actually is a sequel to Wildlands, but it's a more focused game, and like I said, narratively, it is after Wildlands, but it's more narrative driven as well. So it's not this crazy open world as far as we know. Not yet. Well, actually, yeah, no, it is an open world. Okay, so I just should probably just read the Wikipedia page. It's an open world game, but based on what I have seen of this trailer, I haven't watched the whole trailer myself, but I've seen bits and pieces. There's a lot of areas that are really linear-ish in nature, so at least you get the best of both worlds. One of the really cool things that they did recently in Wildlands is, to lead up to this game, was a little they had an operation in Wildlands with the new antagonist played by Jon Bernthal, amazing actor. It was interesting. I mean, it ended kind of weird. Didn't really set it up. Like, I don't feel like it set up Breakpoint, because of the fact that Jon Bernthal's character, who the name is escaping me. This is why I wanted to do it a few weeks ago. He was sort of still on your side, whereas according to the trailer that we're about to see, he's not. He's the main antagonist of the story. So it'll be interesting to see how that pans out once the game comes out. And I can't wait to watch this trailer. So let's just watch it and see what happens, and then maybe we'll find out when the game comes out why he turns against us. May contain inappropriate content for children. Children shouldn't be playing this game. This is actually being developed on the Anvil Next 2.0. So, pretty much the same engine that most of their games use. But based on what I've heard, this sounds like a true blue, like, Ghost Recon experience, and I can't wait. It's you against the world, essentially.
Ghost 1-1, this is Ghost Lead. I'm 2 mics at your location, but I got something bad's on my ass. Rally on me to eliminate the threat.
Copy, Ghost Lead. I'm en route to Yapi. Time now.
Now, whether or not this is real gameplay, we have to assume it is. Ubisoft knows what it's like to show something that isn't real. And I'm hoping it's real gameplay because, that'd be awesome. Obviously, this is, it could very well be scripted as well because, he kind of just shot in the middle of nowhere and didn't really hit anything, or didn't really try to hit anything. And in game logic, that wouldn't actually do anything. It wouldn't scare the AI to not shoot you unless it was actually programmed to do so. And for AI to be that complex, well, it's hard to do. Looks good so far. A lot of people are looking at this like, oh, this just looks like Ghost Recon Wildlands. It's like, Yeah, because it's built on a similar engine or the same one. So, of course it's going to look the same. Besides, it's also, again, it's a sequel technically to Wildlands, so you're going to be in a similar environment. They say narratively a sequel, but it's, I mean, look at it. Very much like Ghost Recon Wildlands, or it looks like it anyway. Now, what he's doing, of course, is bandaging himself up, and that is one of the biggest elements in this game right now. Is we're looking at survival. You can play this with 3 of your friends, so you have 4-player co-op, which, thank God. Hopefully there's no PvP, but we'll probably get PvP. I'm not really akin to that. If I use that word correctly. But you can play it by yourself. That was the biggest contention for a lot of people, is whether or not you could play straight up by yourself, lone wolf it, solo, you know, experience, and you absolutely can, based on what I've heard and researched. So, kind of excited about that myself. I love a good solo experience because I want to see what this game is really like if you were a lone wolf, you were cut off from your team, and you had nothing but what you had for, you know, weapon, ammo, bandages, med packs, all that stuff. And I'm liking the survival aspect of this. The coolest part, I think, is going to be the fact that you saw earlier, he got shot in the arm, he got shot in the leg, and so his movement was compromised based on where he got shot. So if you get shot in the leg, you move slower. If you get shot in the arm, you may not be able to use that arm until you bandage it. This is also really cool. This part I did see. You can actually cover yourself in mud to hide yourself, which is pretty awesome. You just dig in, basically, and it's awesome. Some really cool ideas coming out of this. But pretty much ever since the beginning of Ghost Recon, the series in general, you've always been on a team, but you haven't always been able to be like a super soldier, you know, like Ghost Recon Future Soldier, like Ghost Recon Wildlands. You know, you weren't always a... Jeez, that's brutal. You weren't always... You weren't always able to just take a hit constantly and just start dishing it out, you know? But it looks like they're definitely implementing some, you know, real world tactics. Now, whether or not, well, actually, no, that is possible. They did recently add in Wildlands the ability to turn off your AI companions, so it really is a true solo experience. Now, since they've set this game up, they're showing, you know, obviously you've got AI companions. They probably just want to make sure that people know that to have, I guess, the best Ghost Recon experience is to play with friends. But I'm sure since they've already thought of having it be a solo experience as well, they probably have a way of making it so that the story doesn't sound so weird without people who you're technically supposed to be talking to. They probably have shot it in a couple different ways because since Ghost Recon Wildlands was not set up to do that, they did say narratively some things may be weird, maybe a little janky. Maybe they actually thought of that for this game, obviously, because they built it around that. So hopefully, if you decide to play by yourself, it doesn't actually seem that the dialogue isn't weird or anything, and the narrative is still nice and clean. But we'll have to see. I'm loving the gameplay. The minimalistic HUD, fantastic. It really, I mean, here's the thing. I don't know how to count bullets, especially if I'm in the heat of battle. I'm not worried about how many bullets I have left. But, you know, I think it's interesting that the HUD, as you can see, your stamina bar only comes up when you start to sprint. The crosshairs come up only when you're aiming down sights. Not specifically if you're hip firing, but aiming down sights. Look at the movement. The movement's really good. But the minimalist HUD is a good choice. I like it because it kind of puts you more into the game. Now, like I was saying, from the beginning, since the beginning of Ghost Recon, you've always been in a team. You know, it's Ghost Recon. And the last few Ghost Recon games have, again, you've really felt like, you know, you're a badass. Your character cannot be stopped. This one, hopefully, I mean, these guys look badass, but it's because they're working together. Hopefully, you can kind of go Splinter Cell on this, and really, you're by yourself, and you have to figure out how to take out this compound all by yourself. That would be awesome. And hopefully you're vulnerable a lot of the time. You know, I mean, I don't want my character to be a piece of tissue paper, but you know, I want to be able to have a challenge. You know, this is really cool. You could, even when you're prone, there's different animations, and depending on the melee weapon that you have equipped, there are different animations for how you take the person down, which is pretty sick. Nice sniper. Now, I don't know if it was made clear as to what system they're playing on right now, but I imagine it's probably either a PS4 Pro and Xbox One X, or, I mean, you know, maybe even PC, but the movements do not dictate keyboard and mouse controlling. It's definitely more of a console controller. Nice headshot. Now, I like the way that the Anvil Next engine looks. I do appreciate it's their style, you know, it's the way their games look. But, you know, at the same time, some people don't like it because it's like, oh, it just looks the same. It's like, well, you know, I mean, there's only so much you can do in one generation of engine. It's got its own limitations. That's why they create new engines after that. Whoop, whoop.
What the fuck is that?
Hey, swear words. It's Metal Gear Solid. That's Metal Gear Rex right there. The beginnings of it. These guys are supplying. They're supplying the armaments to Shadow Moses. I like the explosions. They're not like over the top or anything, except for that guy. Oh, that'd be me right there. Freaking light machine gun all the way, baby. The explosions are not over the top. They're actually probably more on the realistic side. You know, it's a lot of dust kick up, but also, you know, you get the fire, the flash and everything. But I mean, from what I've seen, when a grenade goes off, it's a lot of dust, a lot of debris. I mean, did you guys not hear the gunshots outside? Those are Mac towers right there. Very vibrant game, though, let me tell you. A lot of color. Love it. You know, I'm not impartial to, you know, very earth-tony type of games, you know, looking games. As long as it works for... As long as it works for the game. Whereas this game... It's not necessary. Vibrancy is the key for this one.
I have you covered.
Now the question is, are these actually the characters in game saying this stuff, or is it like scripted voice actors, you know, just to put voices to the characters? Nice shot. Love the gun designs.
Time to go.
Shit.
There's my dude. Looking badass as always. I like the character designs for the antagonists. Oh, that sucks. Oh, she's, well, I didn't think she died, but that still sucks. Ah, that's brutal. Nice. Nice. I love it. I'm feeling it, man. I'm feeling it.
Available October 4th. Pre-order now.
October 4th. You heard the man. It's available October 4th this year, so we've got a kick-ass year ahead of us, man. It's a little bit of a lull right now. There's not a lot of releases, which is fine. It's summer. People should be out and doing stuff. Not me, clearly. But no, I go out and do stuff, actually, a lot more frequently than I used to. But we've got a hell of an end of the year to line up here so far. We've got Ghost Recon Breakpoint in October. We've got Death Stranding in November. Big games, big games, and I might pre-order this game. I don't see why not. It's looking really good to me. And if the promises are there that they've made where you can play solo or with friends, that's even better. That makes me excited, and I can't wait to get my hands on this. Now, if you don't know the overall premise of the game, it's basically John Bernthal's character. He, again, has, you know, decided to flip sides here. And he's using what is known as Skeltech. The stuff basically that you use on a daily basis in Ghost Recon Wildlands. That's the stuff that you use to do, you know, the drones and all that stuff to do what you do. He's taking the Skeltech and using it against you, and he just wants to control everything, obviously, because he feels like he's been wronged by his government, by his handler, by his organization, whatever the case may be. It's a classic story of they done me wrong, so I kill them. So that's basically what the story is, and that's what all those drones and were. That was Skeltech being used, and I just think, I mean, it looks so good. It looks really good. Like I said, the environment looks really well done. You can actually see, I'm looking at this really closely up here. You can see some artifacting going on with the little strands of whatever that is. I'm guessing some sort of tree. Now, whether or not that's maybe the anti-aliasing type, or if that's maybe the video, or if that's maybe some checkerboard rendering going on there. So this could be on a PlayStation 4 Pro. Very possible it could be on an Xbox One X. I don't know how much they use checkerboard rendering on that system. I think every once in a while, but it's not. That's more of like a technique that Sony likes to use. But you know, overall the game, I mean, again, in gameplay, you're not gonna notice that. You're really not. I mean, unless you really look for it, it's not really gonna be noticeable. But I love the way the game looks. It is gonna come down to how it feels, though. So you're gonna need to really nail the input latency, especially for consoles. If it looks like it may or may not be capped at 30 FPS for consoles, if they're going to make it look this good, it's going to have to be. Obviously for PC, that's uncapped, I'm sure, all the way. I love the reflections here. More than likely, it's screen space reflections. I don't think they're implementing ray tracing here. That would be heavy. But definitely a good implementation of screen space, if nothing else. And it looks good. I mean, you could clearly see this is the character here off in the distance. Because it's raining, there's water on the ground, so this technically should be a little blurry, which is nice. I like that. The raindrops, they look pretty good, but it seemed a bit low frame rate when they hit the ground there. I don't know, maybe that's just the way it looks. I have no idea. Yeah, just overall, the game looks really impressive. That's a pretty cool vehicle there. I like that. This was definitely one of the coolest things I have ever seen in a game in a long time. Oh, nice shot there. Look at that. You got a nice little bloom effect and light shafts coming through the trees. Ah, that looks good. Is that volumetric lighting, though? It does look like it. Yeah, it looks like a nice little bit of volumetric lighting going on there from the sun. I like it. The shadows, they do look, actually, that looks like pretty high shadows here. They got a soft touch to them, but only because, you know, those shadows are probably coming from a distant tree. And so they do, you know, if you know how shadows work, I'm not an expert, but when you are close, when the light source hits an object, the shadow, like over here, for example, at the base of the tree would be very sharp because that's where the light starts. But as it goes along and the shadow gets longer and longer and longer, the shadow gets softer because less light is getting to that part. So in the simplest way I can think of is how to explain that. It's science. But again, I'm not a scientist, and correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But my understanding is that that's basically how it should look in video games, and it's a really hard thing to achieve with computer rendering. But some games are able to do it really well, some games not so well, but this looks like a pretty decent implementation. Possibly, I don't know where these shadows are coming from. I would assume somewhere over here, and they do seem like they might be a tad too sharp for the objects that are casting the shadow. But other than that, it looks damn good. I like the lighting. I'm going to say it right now, I have no doubt HDR is going to be used here. It's going to play a huge part in making this game look as good as it can. And hopefully I'm right about that, because I love the look of HDR. It's an amazing way to watch entertainment, or watch media or play media. It's awesome. It's a beautiful thing, and hopefully they have a nice implementation of it and really make the game pop. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for joining me, and please join me again in the next video where we're going to be covering, the heck was it? Hold on. I got to get my notes. Hold on. I'm sorry. Modern Warfare. We're going to take a look at the new Modern Warfare trailer and see what we think about that, because apparently Activision's lost their mind. Tell me what you think about this game in the comments below. Are you excited for this? Have you pre-ordered it yet? Let me know. Like this video if you like it. Dislike it if you hate me. Subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, I'm Adam Wolf. This is Ghost Recon Breakpoint. And I'll see you guys in the next one.